stop what you're doing right now. Because what I'm about to tell you will either save your life or make you realize you've already lost it. This isn't theory. This isn't some internet rant. This is the truth that 37 years taught me the hard way. And if you're a man in a relationship, you need to hear every single word. Imagine this moment. You're in your kitchen. Clock says 7 p.m. She walks in, and you feel it before you even see it. That look, that expression that makes your stomach drop, your chest tighten, your whole body brace for impact. Not because she's going to yell. No, yelling would be a gift. Yelling would be honest. Instead, she does something far worse. She sighs. That tiny, disappointed exhale that speaks volumes. That sound that makes you feel like you're shrinking, becoming smaller, less significant than you were just seconds ago. And here's the part that'll mess with your head. She genuinely believes she's being reasonable. She thinks she's the mature one, the patient one, the one holding everything together while you, poor, inadequate you, fumble through life getting everything wrong. Let me share something that took me nearly 4 decades to understand. Something I didn't learn from books or therapy sessions. Something I learned by watching my own identity get systematically dismantled. Piece by painful piece. A woman doesn't need to scream to break a man. She doesn't need violence or drama. All she needs is that deadly combination of disappointment and entitlement that transforms a grown man into a child desperately seeking approval. And the most twisted part, we encourage it. We practically beg for it, because deep in our conditioning, we've absorbed this lie that her happiness is our responsibility, that her emotional state is our report card, that if she's unsatisfied, we've fundamentally failed as men. 3 years ago, I sat alone in my apartment. First time I'd been truly alone in 10 years. And something hit me. Something that should have been obvious but wasn't. Every single decision I'd made for the past decade. Every choice, from career moves to clothing to breakfast cereal, had been filtered through one question. What will she think? Not what do I want? Not what's best for me, not what makes logical sense, but what will satisfy her, what will prevent that look, what will stop that sigh, what will finally be enough. You want the answer? Nothing. Absolutely nothing will ever be enough for someone who sees you as a project, not a partner, as a service provider, not a human being, as a walking disappointment rather than a man. There's this beautiful lie we've all swallowed. This fairy tale promising that if you just love harder, sacrifice more, provide better, she'll finally see your value. She finally appreciates everything. She finally become that loving person you thought you were building a life with. But here's the brutal reality. Listen closely, because this will save you years of suffering. The more you give, the less she respects you. The more you sacrifice, the more she expects. The more you try to please her, the more repulsed she becomes by your weakness. This isn't a glitch. It's not a bug in the system. It's the entire design. It's exactly how this dynamic is built to function. Let me show you how this destruction unfolds. Pay attention, because you're probably living this nightmare right now without even recognizing it. It starts with devaluation. The art of making everything you do seem trivial, expected, the bare minimum. You work 50, 60, 70 hours weekly. Well, that's what men do. You fix things around the house. That's basic adult. You spend time with your kids. Congratulations, you're meeting the minimum parenting requirements. Do you want a trophy? You plan a nice dinner. Other men plan European vacations. You buy flowers. They're the wrong color. Or worse, you only bought them because you're guilty about something. Watch how gratitude vanishes from the relationship. When did she last genuinely thank you for anything? Not that absent-minded thanks tossed over her shoulder. Real appreciation. Heartfelt recognition for what you do, who you are, the weight you carry daily. Know why she doesn't thank you. In her mind, you're not doing favors. You're fulfilling obligations, meeting the minimum job requirements as her man. Nobody thanks their employee for showing up to work. But flip it around. God forbid you don't worship every little thing she does. She cooks dinner. Better act like she's a celebrity chef. She does laundry. That's heroic self-sacrifice. She handles the kids you both chose to have. She's a saint, a martyr, a superhero incarnate. And if you forget to acknowledge her contributions, if you don't sufficiently praise her efforts, you're an ungrateful monster who doesn't appreciate everything she does. The second weapon, and this one cuts deep, is control disguised as concern. Where were you? Who were you with? Why didn't you respond immediately? I saw you were online at 11:47, but you didn't answer my message until 11:52. What were you doing for those 5 minutes? She frames it as caring, wanting to know about your day, being interested in your life. But what she's actually doing is installing a GPS tracker on your soul, making sure you understand that every moment of your existence requires her approval and inspection. And here's the sick part. The more you comply with this surveillance, the more transparent you become, the more she loses respect. Because deep down, she doesn't want a man she can control. She wants a man she can't control but who chooses her anyway. But she can't help testing, pushing, seeing how much you'll tolerate. And every time you hand over your phone without hesitation, every time you explain your whereabouts like a teenager reporting to parents, a piece of her attraction dies. This constant surveillance creates what I call preemptive paralysis. You stop doing things not because they're wrong, but because explaining them exhausts you. You skip having a drink with friends because the interrogation isn't worth it. You don't take an alternate route home because she questioned why your commute took 10 extra minutes. You don't join that gym because she'll assume you're trying to impress someone. Slowly, methodically, your world shrinks until the only safe space is right beside her, doing exactly what she expects, being exactly who she demands, which is essentially nobody at all. Now, let's discuss conflict. The daily warfare she swears she hates, but somehow can't stop creating. Every conversation becomes dangerous territory. Every interaction a potential explosion. Every difference of opinion a relationship emergency. But understand this about these conflicts. They're never really about the dishes or how you loaded the dishwasher or forgetting to buy milk. They're about power. About making sure you know your place. About keeping you in constant defensive anxiety where you're always wrong. Always apologizing. Always trying to fix things. She's mastered emotional terrorism. She knows exactly which buttons trigger you. How to make you raise your voice so she can play victim. How to make you walk away so she can accuse you of not caring. How to make you engage so she can exhaust you with circular arguments that have no resolution. Because resolution was never the goal. The goal was to drain you. Deplete your emotional resources. Make sure you don't have energy left to realize what's happening. And when you're completely depleted, running on emotional empty, that's when she hits you with the expectations. You should be more romantic. make more money, be handier around the house, more involved with the kids, but also give her more space, more aggressive in bed, but also more sensitive to her needs. Be a provider, but emotionally available, strong but vulnerable, independent but completely devoted, everything to everyone all the time. And when you inevitably fail because these demands are literally impossible to meet simultaneously, she gets to be disappointed again. Here's a painful truth that might save your sanity. She creates problems because your attention to problems is the only attention she knows how to process. She doesn't know how to exist in peace, in harmony, in simple contentment. She needs drama like plants need water, conflict like lungs need air. Because without it, she faces the terrible reality that she doesn't actually know who she is or what she wants. She only knows she's unhappy. And since you're the man in her life, that must be your fault. I watched this destroy my brother over 15 years. Started as this confident guy, owned his own business, had interests, friends, a life. 15 years later, he's asking permission to buy coffee on his way to work, explaining why he needs new work boots like he's defending a dissertation. He's turned down 3 promotions because she said it would mean too much time away from home. But when he's home, she complains he's always underfoot. He doesn't even see it. Thinks this is normal. Thinks this is marriage. Thinks this is love. But here's what really breaks a man. What grinds him down to nothing. It's not the control or conflicts or criticism. It's the moving goalposts. The impossible standards. The fact that success is literally impossible because the game is rigged. Today she wants you emotionally available. So you open up. Share your fears, dreams, insecurities. Tomorrow, she's disgusted by your weakness. Can't be attracted to a man who cries, has doubts, needs reassurance. So you toughen up, become stoic. Handle problems yourself. Now you're emotionally distant, cold, don't share anything, living like strangers. You literally cannot win because winning isn't part of the design. The design keeps you perpetually off balance, constantly trying to figure out what she wants, constantly failing, constantly trying harder. It's like being in a casino where the house always wins. Except you can't leave and you've bet your entire life on a game. You don't understand and can't possibly win. Let me tell you about my wake-up moment. I'd just gotten promoted. Biggest career achievement of my life. Something I'd worked toward for 5 years. Came home excited to share the news. Know what she said. I guess this means you'll be home even less now. Not congratulations. Not pride. Not happiness for my success. Just immediate calculation of how this negatively impacts her. In that moment, something clicked. I realized no achievement would ever be celebrated. No success would ever be enough. No amount of proving myself would make her see me as anything other than a disappointing service. Provider consistently failing her, unstated. Constantly changing expectations. The really insidious part is how she frames all this as your failure to be a real man. A real man would know what she wants without being told. Wouldn't be bothered by her moods. Would provide everything while needing nothing. Would be grateful for the opportunity to serve her. She's not destroying you. She's just disappointed you're not living up to your potential. And isn't it lucky she's here to constantly remind you of all the ways you're failing? Here's where it gets really dark. After years of this, you start believing it. Maybe you really are inadequate. Maybe you really are lucky she tolerates you. Maybe you should be grateful she hasn't left for someone better. Your entire sense of self warps around her dissatisfaction. You lose track of who you were before her constant disappointment became your life's soundtrack. You forget you once had confidence, pride, a sense of worth that didn't depend on whether she was having a good day. The bedroom becomes another battlefield, another arena where you can't win. When you initiate, you're a sex-crazed animal who only thinks about one thing. When you don't initiate, you're not attracted to her anymore. Must be cheating. Must be something wrong with you. The sex itself becomes a performance review where you're constantly graded and consistently found lacking. Too fast, too slow, too rough, too gentle, too predictable, too weird. And God forbid you ever have a moment of dysfunction, because that becomes a relationship crisis, requiring endless discussion and reassurance. But not too much reassurance, because then you're needy. She weaponizes her emotions while denying you the right to have any. Her bad day at work means the entire household walks on eggshells. Your bad day means you need to man up and not bring negativity home. Her stress is valid and requires support. Your stress is self-created and you need to handle it better. Her tears are genuine expressions of pain. Your tears are manipulation or weakness. Her anger is justified. Your anger is abuse. And through all this, she maintains the narrative that she's the one suffering. She's the one who sacrificed everything. She's the one who deserves better. She gave up her dreams for you, even though you never asked her to. She could have had anyone, but chose you. Look how you repay her. She does everything for this family while you just go to work. As if working to support the family is some vacation. As if the pressure of being the provider is a privilege rather than a burden. The isolation is strategic. Your friends become problems. That buddy you've known since high school. Bad influence. Your brother, he never liked her anyway. Your parents, too involved in your life. One by one, your support network gets eliminated until she's the only voice in your head. The only perspective you hear. The only judge of your worth. And once you're completely isolated, once you have nowhere to turn for reality checks, that's when the real destruction begins. She rewrites history to make you the villain of every story. That time you forgot your anniversary becomes evidence of complete disregard for the relationship. That argument 3 years ago becomes proof of your abusive tendencies. Every mistake you've ever made gets catalogued and filed away to be brought out. Whenever she needs to remind you why you're lucky, she stays. Meanwhile, her mistakes were just reactions to your failures. Her cruelties were responses to your inadequacies. Her betrayals were just what you drove her to do. Now here's the kicker. The thing that'll really mess with your head. Occasionally, just often enough to keep you hooked, she'll be sweet. She'll be the woman you fell in love with. Soft and loving and appreciative. And you'll think, this is it. We've turned a corner. Things are different now. But it never lasts, because that sweetness isn't real change. It's intermittent reinforcement. The most powerful psychological tool for creating addiction and dependency. Those moments of sweetness are calculated to keep you hoping, keep you trying, keep you believing that if you just find the right combination, you can make her happy all the time. But you can't, because her unhappiness isn't about you. It never was. Her unhappiness is about her. About wounds she carried long before she met you. About needs no human could possibly meet. About a void no amount of your sacrifice could ever fill. You're not her partner. You're her emotional support animal, her punching bag, her excuse for why her life isn't what she thought it would be. And as long as you stay in that role, as long as you accept that treatment, she'll keep destroying you. Not because she's evil, but because you're letting her. Because you've agreed to be destroyed. The solution, and this will sound too simple, but it's the truth, is to stop participating in your own destruction. Stop trying to make her happy. It's not your job, and it's literally impossible. Stop explaining yourself. You don't owe her an accounting of every minute. Stop apologizing for existing, for having needs, for being human. Stop asking permission to live your own life. Stop treating her disappointment as a crisis you need to solve. I know what you're thinking, but if I do that, she'll leave. Maybe she will. But let me ask you something. What exactly would you be losing? A woman who doesn't respect you. A woman who sees you as a constant disappointment. A woman who's slowly grinding your soul into dust. That's not loss. That's liberation. That's getting your life back. That's remembering who you were before you became a supporting character in her drama. The truth is, and this took me too long to understand, a woman who truly loves you doesn't want to destroy you. She wants to build with you, grow with you, face life with you as a partner, not as your supervisor or critic or judge. She wants to see you succeed, celebrates your victories, supports you through failures. She doesn't keep score, doesn't hold grudges, doesn't use your vulnerabilities as weapons. She adds to your life instead of constantly subtracting from it. If you're with a woman who makes you feel smaller, weaker, less than what you are, she doesn't love you. She might need you, might be dependent on you, might be terrified of being alone. But that's not love. Love doesn't diminish. Love amplifies. Love doesn't exhaust. Love energizes. Love doesn't create anxiety. Love creates peace. If what you're experiencing doesn't feel like that, it's not love. It's something else. Something toxic. Something that will eventually consume everything good in you if you let it. I want you to do something right now. Think about the last time you felt genuinely happy, genuinely relaxed, genuinely yourself. Was she there? Or were you alone? With friends? Anywhere but with her. If the happiest moments of your life are when she's absent, what does that tell you about what she brings to your life? If you feel lighter when she's gone and heavier when she returns, what does that say about the weight she places on your soul? You have one life, one shot at this existence, and you're spending it being slowly dissolved by someone who sees you as a combination ATM and emotional janitor. You're spending it apologizing for who you are, shrinking yourself to fit into her narrow definition of acceptable, dying a little more each day to keep someone else comfortable in their dysfunction. Is that really how you want to spend the next 10, 20, 30 years? Is that the legacy you want to leave? Is that the example you want to set for your children? Because here's what your kids are learning by watching this dynamic. Your sons are learning that men exist to serve women's emotions, that their needs don't matter, that love means accepting disrespect. Your daughters are learning they can treat men however they want, that their feelings are more important than anyone else's, that they deserve to be catered to simply because they exist. You're not just destroying yourself. You're teaching the next generation that this destruction is normal, acceptable. What love looks like. The way out is simpler than you think, but harder than you can imagine. You have to be willing to be seen as the bad guy, because when you stop participating in the dysfunction, She's going to paint you as selfish, cruel, abandoning. You have to be willing to disappoint her, because her disappointment has been controlling you for years. Breaking free means not caring about it anymore. You have to be willing to be alone, because being alone is infinitely better than being with someone who makes you feel alone. Start small. Say no to something, anything, without justifying or explaining. Leave the house without asking permission or providing a detailed itinerary. Have an opinion that differs from hers and stick to it even when she tries to argue you out of it. Watch how she reacts. Watch how she escalates. Watch how she pulls out every tool in her manipulation toolkit to get you back in line. And then watch how, if you don't cave, if you don't crumble, if you don't go back to being her obedient servant, she either has to respect you or reveal her true nature. Some women, when faced with a man who won't be destroyed, will actually become better partners. They'll realize the drama and control weren't working, weren't making them happy either, and they'll adjust. But many won't. Many will escalate until the relationship becomes impossible. And that's okay, because a relationship where you have to accept being destroyed to keep it going isn't a relationship worth saving. The most important thing to understand is this isn't about becoming some kind of tyrant or treating her badly. It's about having boundaries, having a life that exists independent of her approval. It's about being a whole person instead of a supporting character. It's about remembering that you matter. Your needs matter. Your happiness matters. And anyone who tries to convince you otherwise doesn't deserve a place in your life. Look, I know this is hard to hear. I know you've probably invested years, maybe decades, into this relationship. I know there are probably kids involved, shared assets, a whole life built around this dysfunction. But staying in a situation that's destroying you isn't noble. It's not being a good father or a good man. It's teaching everyone around you that it's acceptable to treat you like garbage. And eventually, you'll start believing you deserve it. You don't deserve it. You deserve a partner who sees you, appreciates you, supports you, loves you for who you are, not for what you can do for them. You deserve peace in your own home, relaxation in your own bed, the freedom to be yourself without constant criticism and judgment. You deserve a woman who adds to your life instead of constantly subtracting from it. The choice is yours. You can continue letting her destroy you piece by piece until there's nothing left but a hollow shell going through the motions. Or you can stop participating in your own destruction. Reclaim your life and either transform your relationship or find someone who actually wants to be with you, not just with what you can provide. Either way, the first step is recognizing what's happening, admitting that this isn't love, this isn't normal, and this isn't what you have to accept. Your future self is depending on the decision you make right now. The man you could be, the life you could have, the peace you could experience. It's all waiting on the other side of your willingness to stop being destroyed. Don't wait another day, another month, another year. Don't wait until there's nothing left of you to save. The time is now. The choice is yours. And your life, your actual life, not this half existence you've been accepting, is waiting for you to choose yourself for once.